This is 3 News Daily.
Hello everyone, welcome back to 3 News Daily on this Thursday, May 11th. I'm Stephanie Haney here with the stories that matter most to you in Northeast Ohio. And we start off here in Cleveland with a father's desperate plea as the search for his missing daughter continues. A small group gathered in Cleveland's Glenville neighborhood trying to find a trace of EMT LaChelle Jordan missing since Saturday. Our Lydia Aspara reports.
They gathered with fear and tears in their eyes.
We want to come home now!
On the same street, LaChelle Jordan disappeared.
It bothered my spirit to know that another black woman is missing.
Her father, Joe.
For LaChelle to go missing, that is unusual. And we're going to find her. That's what we're going to do.
Sending out this desperate appeal.
As a father, I want to say, if you have my daughter, give her back to me. That's all I want.
LaChelle disappeared last Saturday. She left her home at 6 p.m. to get something out of her car, then vanished. Her EMT employee badge still hanging from her rearview mirror. Her purse and cell phone still in the house. LaChelle told family and friends she was being watched and stalked. She was set to testify against Michael Stennett, who's accused of rape. She filed a restraining order against him. Investigators arrested Stennett for violating the protective order. He has not been named as a suspect. So where the mother of two disappeared, her co-workers and friends follow her footsteps.
It's just not a lot known, so we don't know what to do.
In hopes of finding a clue, door to door they place these flyers, talk to residents. Joe Jordan leading the way, begging for information regarding LaChelle's disappearance. After all,
Find LaChelle. That's simple.
it's what any father would do.
That needs to get there. They can do it anonymously. They don't have to say who they are. They just can give us the information.
Lydia Aspara, 3 News.
A lot of people looking for LaChelle Jordan, and now Crime Stoppers has put out a $5,000 reward for information leading to her safe return or an arrest. If you have any information, please call the Cleveland Police or Crime Stoppers. We have those numbers on WKYC.com. Moving now to Newcastle, Pennsylvania, where yet another Norfolk Southern train has derailed. The town is just over the Ohio line, only about 20 miles from East Palestine. Remember, that's where a train carrying toxic chemicals crashed back in February. Norfolk Southern says that around 11:57 last night, 9 cars derailed in Newcastle. We can tell you that no hazardous materials were on board. Norfolk Southern says the cars were carrying soybeans and paraffin wax. Thankfully, no one was hurt. The company says they have crews at the scene. We'll let you know more details as we get them. Now here in Ohio, Norfolk Southern says it will pay homeowners near the East Palestine train derailment site. The company's CEO, Alan Shaw, is renewing apologies for the impact of the derailment and pledges to pay for cleanup. So far, Norfolk Southern has spent almost $400 million in the aftermath of the derailment, but that doesn't include costs for falling property values, long-term health care, or water treatment. Shaw said homeowners who live within 5 miles of the derailment site could get paid for those things. Now this morning, the Fishtail continues. The 2 men who pleaded guilty to cheating in a walleye fishing tournament back in September were sentenced. 43-year-old Jacob Runyon and 36-year-old Chase Kaminsky will spend 10 days in jail for felony cheating and unlawful ownership of wild animals. The judge also tacked on a $2,500 fine, but did say that if the men make charitable donations, that fine will be cut in half. Now, after serving those 10 days in jail, the 2 men will be on probation for the next 1.5 years. And their fishing licenses will be suspended for 3 years. This is all because the men weighted down the fish they caught in the Lake Erie Walleye fishing tournament to cheat to get the $28,000 in prize money. Switching now to health news. As the public health emergency declaration regarding COVID-19 expires in the U.S. today, the Ohio Department of Health talked about changes coming to current free resources. This is a big change. First off, free COVID-19 tests from the government won't be available anymore. The cost of over-the-counter tests will depend on your insurance. For now, vaccines will still be free. Here in Cleveland, officials say they're focusing on getting everyone their first dose of the vaccine because there are still people who are not vaccinated in the city. As of today, Ohio has seen 3.4 million COVID cases since the start of the pandemic back in 2020. Now on to politics. A critical House resolution passed last night and then was approved by the Senate, aiming to make it harder for voters to amend the state's constitution. So this calls for an August special election for voters to decide whether to raise the threshold to pass future constitutional amendments from the current amount, 50% plus one, that's a simple majority vote, to a 60% supermajority vote in an election. It would also require signatures from all 88 counties in Ohio rather than the 44 required now in order to get a voter-initiated amendment on the ballot. Now, here's some important context about all of this pertaining to this August special election. In December of 2021, Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose released a statement, which he posted a link to on Twitter, saying in part, quote, "Interest groups often manipulatively put issues on the ballot in August because they know fewer Ohioans are paying attention. As a result, the side that wins is typically the one that has a vested interest in the passage of the issue. Voters are just as capable of voting on these important issues during the standard primary and general elections." Again, important context here. We know these August special elections are very expensive, and Governor Mike DeWine just signed legislation in January to get rid of these. Now, that will be coming back. Governor DeWine had also previously said he would approve an August special election in this case, something we will certainly be continuing to follow. Now, in other news, FirstEnergy is making changes. The company is moving its downtown Akron headquarters to its West Akron campus, and we've learned the company will close its Brecksville office. It'll also cut about 90 employees and make 670 employees eligible for early retirement. The company says they're doing this to modernize operations and help customers. All right, now let's turn to baseball and environmental news. The Cleveland Guardians have partnered with the Davy Tree Expert Company to plant 130 trees around Northeast Ohio. 100 of them were planted this morning. 30 more will be planted at Jose Ramirez Field at Clark Fields later this month. The Guardians held a special pre-planting ceremony that was with Guardians owner Paul Dolan before the planting got underway. Now, before we go, there are exciting things coming to the Cleveland Botanical Garden. This is such a beautiful space, and they just announced their summer exhibit lineup. They'll have a new exhibit called Botanical Blooms and Birdhouses. Bloom Botanicals and Birdhouses. That opens Saturday, May 27th. There'll be hundreds of unique birdhouses, glass art, and also artwork. That artwork will be from Northeast Ohio artist Asia Moore. Plus, Bloom Summer Nights start up June 1st. Every Thursday, starting June 1st, the garden will stay open late until 8:30 p.m. for guests to check out all their beautiful spring and summer displays. The Botanical Garden is such a lovely place to visit. I can't recommend it enough. Thanks for being with us for today's edition of 3 News Daily. Whether you're watching on our WKYC Plus app, on YouTube, on Instagram, or you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, we appreciate you and hope you can enjoy this gorgeous day. We'll see you back here tomorrow with more of your top stories from around Northeast Ohio.